Hello everybody and welcome to some more live action Edain. I actually went random and I got Rohan, which is quite good. I was actually hoping to get Rohan because, I nearly said Brohan then. I'm very glad to get Rohan because somebody suggested to me to do a little bit more of an overview of Rohan. So that's exactly what I can do in this, thanks to a lucky faction getting. Gosh, this commentary, it needs to improve, Goodfella. Anyway, here we go. Obviously, I've got these peasants, my starter units, and what I tend to do is go for a flour mill inside my base, and the reason for that is because I like to get some very early pikes out. That's twofold. It's really because I need them in case my enemy rushes Cav, which you may be thinking it's extremely early to start rushing Cav, but a lot of good players will go for Cav like as soon as they possibly can. Say if, for example, they are Rohan or Isengard. Obviously, Isengard will get the wargs out, and it is actually reasonably viable for Rohan to go for a Sables right off the bat and get cavalry out in that way. And if not that, then to go ahead and grab the outpost, which I will be doing, and you'll see me doing just in a little while after I've creeped these wildmen, and get some of the exiles out in that way. If you didn't know, the exiles are excellent. Their production time is so minimal, as in it takes hardly any time whatsoever for them to be produced once you select them to be produced. So they're really nice, and actually that is what I'm going to go for in this game, and that's what I go for in pretty much every game that I play as Rohan now. If I'm not going to go for the outpost, which is 800 resources, I'll go for an earlier Theoden instead, who is also 800 resources. But as of late, I've been going for the exile camp more than anything else. So you might have noticed that actually my strategy is slightly different for Rohan compared to a lot of the other factions I play, where usually I send off my starter units, my sword starter units, over here. Whereas, as we see here, the peasants are, both of my starter units are over here, attacking the wildmen. They were previously over here attacking this wildman. And usually my first pikes go off and capture some of the wargs down here. But as you see, I'm pushing through the middle a little bit more than I usually do. And that's simply to get the exile camp. As I've got 800 resources now, I can get it right now. And the other reason why I don't send off my starter units over here is because actually one battalion of peasants is pretty weak, and it's weak to the point of not being able to kill wildmen unless you micro absolutely perfectly. And really I prefer just not to risk it and just send two battalions of peasant swordsmen or hammer and sicklemen to go and attack those wildmen. And in that way I'm absolutely certain that I'm never going to lose that unit. And I also you know, I can bring them down faster, etc. So here we go. I've got my, and let's have a look at the production time. Look at that. It's possibly the fastest production time of anything in this game. And it looks like my opponent here, Thorin, is a bit of a micro mistake there in not destroying the troll layer in enough time, and hopefully. Indeed I do. Excellent, excellent news. I got every single bit of money there from that. That was just perfect. Really, I can't ask for anything else more than that. And he went ahead and didn't get pikes. So, I mean, that's not good when you're playing against Rohan. And you saw the exact reason why just then. And he's also gone for some archers, which also is terrible news for him and excellent news for me. What should I do with these guys? You know, I tell you what, you guys can harass there, you guys can do that, and I'll do a bit of splitting of my cavalry as well. So you can see that these 3 exile battalions, and you are limited to 3, how effective they can be when you split them. So I'm going to use this guy to harass over here. You can creep over here, and then you can be control 6, and you can creep over there, and just get such a big hold on the map very early on. Now you do have to watch out for when your enemy gets pikes like that. You just have to move your cavalry around a little bit. But that's the thing with cavalry. Like, the anti-cavalry in Edain and in Battle for Middle-earth 2 in general is, of course, pikes. But the pikes are slower than the cavalry, so if your micro is good, you should be able to just run rings around them and never really suffer much damage. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult to do that, to micro perfectly, but it's possible. So, you know, you should always aim to do it. And there's some archers, and really, it is looking pretty bad for Thorin in this position. Thorin the second I'm playing against. Give these guys a heal. Don't want to lose too many of them. So yes, I've harassed him there. I've creeped over here, and I'm also getting gambling out, as I'm sure you noticed. Me just switch back to the system and get him. So that's maybe. I mean, it's probably not the best thing to do to go for such an early gambling like that, but I just like doing it with Rohan because gambling is such an excellent hero. He can get the buff from Theoden, which gives him plus 50% damage, and oh, he's got some. Oops. You see that is bad micro there. I managed to forget to destroy that rubble, so I didn't get any money from that. Whereas I did destroy that one, I got money from there. Nevertheless, I'm still pretty confident in my position. So it looks like he's not coming in to attack me there. You can attack this, and you guys can just make sure that you're getting that. Okay, so he is attacking me now, and I'll just have to carefully micro around. So yeah, I mean, to me, Rohan has got so much micro potential with all of these nice early cav. And by micro potential, I mean they can play extremely well if you have good micro. Which I haven't got that great micro at the moment because everything's kind of dying. Now look at this. This is another reason why Rohan is so good. If he starts to attack me, that is. And that is just clump them together like that. The traitors of Rohan. And it's why Theoden is so good, and it's why Rohan is so good in general. These traitors are some of the best early game units in the entire game. And now that I've creeped over there, I'm going to go ahead and do some more damage to his farms with my cavalry. Now that I've creeped a lot, I can start to do a lot more harassment. So yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident already in this match. I feel like, I mean, I pretty much got it won. I certainly feel confident when I'm playing Rohan. And really, you see, with the use of this cavalry, how quickly you can gain control of the map. Because look at the map. I have all the map. He has no farms. When this one is destroyed, that is, he'll have no farms. And really, that's the power of Rohan. A lot of people don't think they're that great in the late game. And certainly, they're not as good in the late game as they are in the early game. But they're not even that bad in the late game, in my opinion. Especially if you go for the cavalry archers. Or you simply get a lot of heroes out. I mean, the heroes of Rohan are so good. As I'm sure you know if you play a lot of Edain. So at the moment, I'm just trying to cement my position a little bit. Don't want to have too much of a cash flow, even though I've got quite a lot now. And I might even just start thinking about sieging his base now. Once you upgrade this this building as well, the exile camp, you can get 3 more battalions of cavalry out, and they have the same production time as the exiles. I think they're called the Royal Vanguard, or the Royal Vanguard, and they actually cost no command points. So another huge advantage for Rohan is that some of their cavalry, 3 battalions in fact, cost absolutely no command points, just like Cirith units from Mordor. Absolutely 0 command points. So that is just fantastic. And I'll put you guys on 4, and you guys can be on 5. Ooh, don't want to go ahead and lose all my units. I mean, it's getting towards the mid game now, so I'm probably going to invest more in my inside economy. If I was in an even better position, like Thorin's got a lot of units out now. If he didn't have that many units out, I'd feel even more confident, and I'd really be thinking that I don't need the inside economy. Because he's got this little clump, that's got a lot of pikes in it as well. So my cavalry aren't going to be able to just roam free on them. I think really I'm going to have to transition into more of a mid-game economy. And by doing that, I'm going to get all these inside eco buildings. So that being said, I'm still making siege. So that should tell you how confident I'm feeling already in this situation. So a little bit of a lull in the action, and really it's because all these pikes that are here, and that is obviously the best counters for Rohan is, or one of the best counters, is to clump your units like that and have a lot of pikes in the clump. Because as soon as you start splitting armies that aren't protected by pikes, that's really when you start to get into some serious trouble when you're playing against Rohan. But that being said, I have the entire map. Oh, yes, the other thing I wanted to mention was the fact that, yes, those exiles are excellent, but once they're gone, they're gone. So as you saw, I don't know if you noticed, but my command points dropped down by a huge amount. And the reason for that is because the traitors ran out of their timers. So they just simply disappeared from the map. Don't want you guys going in there because you'll just run into a ball of death. And really I've got a lot of money as well from all this map control that I've got. So now I'm thinking about upgrading my units, and actually, having said that, I'll get Erkenbrand out. Erkenbrand is so excellent. He can summon 2 battalions of pretty decent soldiers. If you didn't know, this heals your units. I'll actually get an arrow tower on there, just in case he tries and pushes a little bit. So yes, he's got a pretty huge clump of Lorien there, which is a little bit scary. But once I build up, I feel like I'll be able to have a good push on his base and really finish the match. Because yeah, he's building up a large army, but his economy is nowhere near my economy. I just completely dominate in the map control and the economy front. So really, he can build that huge army, and he's going to lose the match unless he pushes somewhere on the map and somehow gain some kind of huge advantage, which really I can't see him doing now, unless I really mess up badly. So let's try and get some levels for our heroes now. 4, 5. I'll combine 4 and 5 into 4 so that I can hit him really hard with some with a big load of cavalry. So here we go, and you can actually flank with those as well, which is nice. You have to watch out for Tauriel, as always, in any match, whether it be with Rohan or not. Shift 4, Control 4. So yeah, honestly, I feel like it's almost GG already. I didn't quite get to show. I mean, I will be showing it soon. But the other huge thing about Rohan, in my opinion, is their powers, and specifically, more than anything else, it's their archer powers. And let's have a look at this power block here. Ambush of the Edain. If that's how you pronounce those guys. So they're an archer summon, and they're pretty decent as well because they inflict poison damage. Oh goodness me, don't want to lose him. And I think he's getting, yes indeed he is getting killed by Tauriel there, who gets camouflage while she attacks. Hashtag not OP. Here we can see them now. The reason why I like the archer summons with Rohan is because Rohan is quite focused on cavalry, of course, and the archer summons can simply target the pikes, as I'm doing here. And if you can kill some of the pikes, or all of the pikes, with your archers, then you can just trample the rest with your cavalry. So really, Rohan is one of the only factions that has archer summons. I mean, the only at least as many as they do. I know Imladris has the hobbits. Gondor has the Grey Company.
I'm on your side.
Trying to think of what else other people have. I can't really think of anything else at the moment. I'm sure there is other stuff, but I can't think of it at the moment. But it's so much more effective for Rohan because you know that they're going to have cavalry out. And really that's why I love archers so much and mixed armies so much, is because once all the pikes are down, as quite a lot of them are here, you can just come in with your cavalry and just destroy everything else. Which we might be able to see here. Oh no, he's still got a couple of battalions of pikes. And really, it is hard to charge down units with cavalry when your opponent is in the base like he is now, because you're just going to suffer so much damage from the towers, especially a Lorien base. I haven't activated that. You get a little speed boost with this guy, but not a lot of people know. It's this ability here, reliable guide. So there's his archers that are vulnerable now, because a lot of his pikes are dead, or almost all of his pikes are dead now. So you can just come in, and he did freeze them, and I am going to suffer damage from the archery towers. But I mean, it's pretty much GG now already. So yeah, that was just a nice little example of how to use Rohan reasonably well. And I think that's why they're so good in 1v1 in particular. It's just how aggressive they can be. And how difficult it is to play against them when your enemy gets out as much cavalry as they can get. Look at this, 6 battalions of cavalry, which is very early in the game. And remember, half of this is taking up no command points. And as well as that cavalry, it's all the good powers that they get as well. And of course all the heroes. And Theoden, the fact that Theoden is so strong. The fact that he can give you a boost to your economy like he does here. And as we see, we saw in a previous video, it produces something like 96 resources when he has that activated. He can buff your heroes to give them plus 50% damage and minus 30% recharge on their abilities. And then he can make the traitors as well, who are like super strong. And yes, when they're gone, they're gone. But the amount of damage that you can do with them really compensates for the fact that they're a non-permanent unit. So that's why really I think Rohan is one of the best factions in Edain. I'll go for that even though I don't really need it, and that's what I was saving it for. Because sometimes it's nice to mount your heroes, especially mounting Eowyn, because she's a hero killer, and if you've got a mounted hero killer, it's a lot harder for your enemies to escape from them. The enemy heroes, that is. And just a little tip there as well. I mean, I didn't utilize it very well, but a good tactic of sieging Lorien, if you're ever wondering, usually you have to do it with catapults, because if you come in with rams whilst your enemy still has a big army, you're very likely to die from the archery towers, because obviously you're going to have to protect your rams with an army, and your army will just get slaughtered by all the archery towers. So a lot of the time it's best to go for the trebuchets. And as we see here, if you destroy this little wall node, or whatever you call it, wall hub, if you destroy that first, then that gives you a little bit of an area to attack for your catapults. So that's just a little tip on sieging Lorien, which can be quite difficult if you're not used to it. That being said, now that he hasn't got an army, it's a lot better to use rams, because they do a lot of damage. And as we see, it's difficult to destroy them with catapults, because you have to destroy like either the bridge or this little node or another bridge before your catapults actually get through. If you fire a catapult, you might think it would go over this little bridge, but in actuality, it hits the bridge until the bridge is destroyed. So if you've been struggling to siege Lorien, that is probably the reason why. So yeah, GG. He's not going to come back from this. I'd have to make a horrendous mistake for him to come back from this. Actually, let me just bring in my cavalry, because cavalry are good against buildings when they get the forged blades. So yes, if you thought Rohan was underpowered, think again. And hopefully I'll be showing you some more Rohan games against some other players. And also, I'll have to think about how to counter Rohan effectively. Because really, I think they're one of the most difficult factions to play against. And he says that's stupid. After Mesudor fixed. I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, that's it. It's GG. His base has been destroyed. And that is the power of Rohan. Everyone started to use that goddamn Erkenbrand. Yes, Erkenbrand is very effective. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be covering Rohan a little more. And I think a good way to cover them would be to do replays rather than live action. Because I can talk a lot more in a lot more depth and a lot more calmly. Because live action gameplays are a bit more stressful. So anyway, and here's the stats as well. As we see, units, a huge jump here, and he was building up a lot of units as well until I decided to attack, and then bang, they're all dead. And structures, I had more structures because I had structures all over the map. He had almost no structures over the map. The final score shows it all. And let's have a look at the resources produced, because really it was an economic win for me in that game, and then just a slow build up until I could siege his base. So where is total resources? Max income per minute. Yes, there we go. More than double. More than double the resources. So that is why I felt so confident in that position, because I had so much more of the map than him. And even though he was spamming out all those units, and I knew it would be difficult for me to kill them at that point in the match, if you remember it. I knew that my economy was just vastly superior to his, because I just had the entire map. So it was in my favour, time was on my side, to just wait around, build up, and then attack. And that's what I did, and it was the GG. So yes, that is Rohan in a nutshell. Super aggressive in the early game, can grab the map for you, just instantly grab the entire map if your enemy doesn't counter it effectively. Then you simply wait till you've got enough of an army to destroy your enemy, and just go ahead and destroy your enemy. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.